হাইলাইটস বেঙ্গল ইউটিউব চ্যানেলটি সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন এবং এই বেল সিম্বলে ক্লিক করুন।
Rabindranath Mukherjee, distinguished scientist and emeritus fellow, IIT Kanpur, and also the chief guest of today's convocation, recipients of honorary degrees, Mr. Sanjeev Chattopadhyay, Ms. Swapna Burdwan, Professor Partha Pratim Majumdar, and Professor Madan Mahan Maharaj, Professor Nivai Chandra Saha, esteemed Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Bahadur Hussain, Registrar of the University, members of the Court and Council of the University, learned members of the faculty, distinguished guests, recipients of medals and degrees, dear students, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. Though you have all been already welcomed by the esteemed Vice Chancellor, I, as the Chancellor of this university, once again extend a hearty welcome to you all. It is our privilege to have with us an eminent scientist like Professor Rabindranath Mukherjee, a Fellow of Indian National Science Academy, Indian Academy of Sciences, and Royal Society of Chemistry as the chief guest of this convocation. Professor Mukherjee is not only known for his outstanding contribution to the field of chemistry, but has also been an excellent teacher. I am sure that all present here, especially the students, have been immensely benefited by his address today. I consider myself privileged for getting the opportunity of conferring the degree of literature honoris causa upon a legendary, iconic figure of Bengali literature, Mr. Sanjeev Chattopadhyay, who I think needs no introduction. I have always been a great admirer of his work. Ms. Swapna Burdwan also needs no introduction. She has made our country proud by her phenomenal success in sports. To the youngsters in particular, she has already become an icon. It is also my privilege to confer the degree of Science honoris causa upon two eminent scientists, Professor Partha Pratim Majumdar and Professor Madan Mahan Maharaj. Professor Majumdar is known for his contribution to the development of biomedical genomics. Professor Maharaj, who has fused the life of a scientist with that of an ascetic, has the distinction of receiving the Bhattacharya Award for his contribution to the field of mathematics. I think that by conferring the honoris causa degrees upon such luminaries of our country, the university itself is honored. I have learned that the university has progressed a lot between the last convocation and this one. I congratulate all of you associated with the university on obtaining grade A in the last assessment of the NAC in 2016 and hope that you will retain this grade in your next assessment. I also appreciate the fact that you are running successfully the CBCS system and the online admission both at the PG and UG levels. I am glad to know that the research publications by the faculties of various departments in the last 1.5 years are more than 1,000 in number. I also congratulate all of you for getting financial support of almost ₹170 million from different international, national and state bodies. It definitely proves the excellence of your academic pursuits. I am equally pleased to know that more than 250 students have passed the NET, SET and GATE examinations between 2018 and 2019. In my last convocation address, I appealed to you all to explore the local resources while framing syllabi and pursuing research. I once again emphasize that if the uniqueness of Burdwan, which has a rich history and a glorious present, is exploited to the full, both in teaching, learning and in research, the university will not only cater to social needs, but also achieve a new glory of its own. While I congratulate and wish all the best to all recipients of various degrees of the university, I would like to say a few things for these students in particular. Right now, we are standing at a crucial juncture of the history of our country. The 150th birth anniversary of Gandhiji has already begun across the globe, and the 200th birth anniversary of Pandit Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar is just 1 year away. This is truly a historic moment for all of us. But how should we celebrate this moment? Should we worship them as idols and offer floral tributes only? They instead should be considered as lighthouses, not only to us, but also to the entire human civilization. I strongly believe that the insights that we receive from the life and works of these great men are to be made a part of our living. We must live their thoughts and make them anew. My dear students, and the teaching and the non-teaching staff of the university, you can really learn a lot from the life and works of Pandit Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar. Learn from him what we call fortitude. Consider the hardships that he had to overcome as a student. Learning was never a gift handed over to him. He had to earn every bit of his knowledge with much toil. My dear students, some of you are really more fortunate than Vidyasagarji. Ask yourself, are you using the best opportunities that this institute, your family, and society at large are offering you? Educational administrators, teachers, and employees can also learn a lot from Vidyasagarji, the great educational reformist. He indeed should not be remembered simply as a social reformer. He was, in a sense, the first educational reformer of our country. Almost single-handedly, he changed the kernel of educational system of that time to make it at par with the global standard. For doing this, he had to fight hard, even at his workplaces. But he did not lose his heart and kept himself always open to new ideas and practices. Fusion of the East and the West was the essence of his educational reform. That is why he emphasized on using Bangla and English along with Sanskrit as mediums of teaching the learning process. He also put enormous emphasis on teaching the great Vedas along with the European history, philosophy, and science. He opened the Sanskrit college for non-Brahmin students as well. How many of us now remember that it was he who introduced tuition fee and admission fee in Sanskrit college to systematize education? He was a free thinker and was ahead of his time. Learn from him to think freely without any kind of prejudice. My dear students, connect yourselves with the world at large. Vishwavidyalaya never encourages a disconnect between knowledge and society. Don't be ashamed of your shortcomings. Don't live inside a cocoon. Have faith in yourself. Come out of the four walls and fly like a butterfly. While saying this, along with Vidyasagar, I also remember Gandhiji. Expansion of the self was also the motto of Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy. While addressing a gathering of the students, he once said, I quote, "You are the hope of the future. You will be called upon when you are discharged from your colleges and schools to enter upon public life to lead the poor people of the country. I would therefore like you students to have a sense of your responsibility and show it in much more tangible manner. It is a remarkable fact and a regrettable fact that in the case of the vast majority of students, whilst they entertain noble impulses during their student days, these disappear when they finish their studies. The vast majority of them look out for loaves and fishes. Surely this is something wrong in this. There is one reason which is obvious. Every educationist, everyone who has had anything to do with these students has realized that our educational system is faulty. It does not correspond to the requirements of the country. Certainly not to the requirements of the pauper India. He used the word pauper at that time. There is no correspondence between the education that is given and the home life and the village life, unquote. What he said long back seems to be true to a large extent even now. Nowadays, we talk a lot about excellence in education. What is it? Should an excellent educational system only produce skilled professionals who will contribute to the so-called progress of the country? What about the excellence of the soul? What about the self-glorification and holistic development of an individual? Had he been alive, this is a question that Gandhiji would have put to himself. He was not simply a political leader. He was a thinker, a philosopher, a visionary. There is little doubt that he gave our freedom struggle a clear direction, a sense of completeness, and thought of creating a nation based on pluralistic ideologies and the spirit of inclusion. But the struggle for freedom was never simply a political fight for Gandhiji. It was rather a fight for self-purification and the inner development of the soul. It was a fight for freeing man from those shackles which make him self-centered and narrow-minded. My dear students, don't ever forget these words of Mahatma Ji. I quote again, "Character cannot be built with mortar and stone. It cannot be built by hands other than your own. The principal and the professor cannot give you character from the pages of books. Character building comes from their very lives. Really speaking, it must come from within yourselves," unquote. I also believe that the time has come when we need to ask whether we have really learned anything from Gandhiji's philosophy of education. His vision of education was intertwined with his vision of a better Indian society. Have we been able to materialize his vision? Time has come that we confront this question with transparency and honesty. I might sound to some of you like living in the past, but believe me, I am not. I say this is in a tone of self-introspection. I know that we have traveled a lot from the days of Vidyasagar ji and Gandhiji. We have achieved a lot as well, but I am a little worried about the direction of our journey. I am sure that a few things in our educational system, as well as in our social, political and cultural life, need to be changed. I am sure that so many of you also think likewise. But who will bring in these changes? Should we wait for another Vidyasagar or Gandhi? To answer this question, I would once again like to fall back upon Gandhiji. He believed that those who would bring a change in the world would need to change themselves first. I would like to end my speech by quoting Gandhiji again, quote, "Be the change you want to see in the world," unquote. I thank you all for listening to me with patience. Thank you. Jai Bharat.